Greetings from 11:46 a.m. on my day off. Yay! I am doing Alex Days or Naramon's 2012 YouTube survey. So, without further ado, question 1. Why are you called that? Now, I have two names that I go by. My real name, which is Kristen, and there's a story about it. My parents thought of my name 4 years before I was even born. I'm named after my aunt, who is my mom's best friend. And at their wedding, my aunt was irritating my father to no end, and he just turned to her and said, "Kristen Ann, you stop that right now." And apparently, within that same span of minute and a half, he turns to my mother and goes, that's what we should name our first daughter, Kristen Ann. So 4 years before I was even born, they had already picked out my name. Now, I think it's kind of interesting that my dad can't spell it correctly, and I maintain the fact that he just didn't know how to spell it and just made it up. But, hey. And then the other name I go by is Birdie. Now, Birdie was my camp name when I was working at Girl Scout Camp. My mom actually came up with it because I was reading about Lady Bird Johnson, and she was like, "Well, you like Birdie. I mean, you sing a lot. Why don't you do that?" And so that kind of stuck. And then I worked at Girl Scout Camp for 3 summers in a row, and when I started college, I was going by Chris at the time, and there was 4 Chris's in my theater department, all of them guys except for me, and I was talking to my dear friend Julian at the time, and he was like, "Well, why don't you just go by Birdie?" And so it kind of stuck, and then everybody started calling me Birdie, and just to this day people still do. Question 2. Tell us about your favorite school teacher. My favorite school teacher was Mr. Tate. He was my history teacher at Central Valley School District's high school. He was one of the funniest, most intelligent teachers I have ever had. He had cerebral palsy, or has. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. But he didn't let them get him down. He made jokes about it all the time. It was just a lot of fun. We went on tangents. It seemed like every Wednesday, without fail, we would end up talking about just off-the-wall things. It was always so much fun. 3. What is the strangest food you've ever eaten? I am allergic to everything, so I'm a little paranoid about trying new things. I think the weirdest thing I've ever eaten would be buffalo. Yeah, that's adventure. Okay. 4. Tell us about your first gig. Well, I have never performed in a band, so I'm going to talk about the first gig I've ever went to. I've only ever been to 3 concerts. The first 2 are the Bare Naked Ladies before Stephen Page left the band. Still love them, but prefer him with the band. I own every CD they've ever released. And the other band I've seen in concert is Harry and the Potters, which was fucking awesome. And I went with my good friend Gracie, and we had a great time. 5. What is your favorite place in the world? This is a difficult question for me. It boils down to 2 answers. The first one would be Girl Scout Camp. I went there from the time I was like 7, and I worked there until I was in my 20s. It was so much fun, and I loved it, and I still have dreams about it. The other would be any sort of book place. So a library, a bookstore. I love to read. If I was on a desert island and I had my husband and my best friend and all the books I could ever read, I would be the happiest person in the world. Okay, and the last question is, who do you want to answer the survey next? Kelsey? And anybody else who's watching this, I'd love to hear your answers. Get to know you a little bit more. Okay, just a update. I'm going to try and do one of these at least once a week, maybe twice. And I hope you have a good day. Bye!